Welcome back, folks, to Not Funny Eyes Presents Red Dwarf Rewatch. We are fast approaching the end of Series 3. We're on to Episode 4 now. This is Episode 4, Bodyswap, directed by Ed Bye, written by Rob Brandt and Doug Naylor. This one came out on the 5th of December, 1989. So let's jump into that summary. So, after witnessing Holly perform a body swap on Lister to tackle an emergency, Rimmer suggests he and Lister undergo the procedure so he can help his bunkmate get healthy through vigorous exercise regime. However, Rimmer is overtaken by the excitement and prospect of having a physical body again and refuses then to give the body back to Lister. That is the basic crux of the problem. But let's get into the details. So we open with a picture of one of the scutters. Basically, this one has lost its mind and got out of control and rewired everything in the ship. Rimmer and Crichton are trying to basically track down the damage. Auto-destruct system has gone missing. Everyone's supposedly being careful. They tell Lister he's supposed to tell the cat. He is with the cat when he goes to a food dispenser machine to ask for a milkshake and a crisp. And unfortunately, then the auto-destruct sequence engaged. They have a 15-minute countdown. Lister keeps trying to undo his order if that's going to stop it. Rimmer chews Lister out over for not listening. Holly then informs them that the only way they can stop this is they need the captain or any of the senior officers who are all dead. So no one can turn it off. Holly foresees 3 options. 1, sit down, sit right here, get blown up. Stand right here and get blown up. Jump up and down, and they still get blown up. Fortunately for them, Crichton suggests that they do something they tried on the Nova 5, his old ship, way back in Series 2, a mind swap. Then he asks them eventually, does it work? He's like, no, but he thinks he knows what happens. So the idea is that they will remove, because the self-destruct requires not only a voice ID, but a brain scan. So they're going to remove Lister's brain from his body and put the captain's in his body, but they can't find his disc. But they do find that of Executive Officer Brown, which Holly tells them has clearance. They then perform a mind enema with a giant syringe to flush out Lister's brain into it and then put it on a disc. And then he has to basically be talked into this. He's very resistant. Big needle goes into his brain, sucks out his brain on disc. Cat, of course, accidentally immediately drops it into it. I'm assuming it's his tea or his coffee. Pretty funny. They put Browns in, deactivate self-destruct, it fails. But then the countdown comes to an end and the ship does not blow up. For which Holly reveals that she got rid of the bomb years and years ago, but apparently since no one asked. Instead, the vending machine at the end of the countdown dispenses the chocolate milk and the crisp that Lister ordered. Holly. So the bomb warning system is there, the bomb was not. Lister gets his brain back in, and so they're in the bunk, he and Rimmer talking now. Rimmer starts talking and presents Lister with a rather harebrained scheme of letting him take over, since they know the procedure works, take over Lister's body and get him into shape. And he's making all these platitudes about how, 24, 25 is somehow middle age, and he's gone over the hill, he's put on weight, and he's basically offering to do a service check on his body and get him back into shape. Lister will end up being a hologram for roughly, I think, a 2-week time period they decide on. Rimmer has to work hard to really convince him of this, but eventually they convince him. They go in there 2 weeks. And so now Rimmer, as in Lister's body, begins a decontamination process. And of course, Lister and Rimmer's body basically starts dressing more like Lister. We also learned that when he's decontaminating himself in the shower, that apparently due to Rimmer's facial expressions, that Lister must be very well endowed. Rimmer is in the process of deep cleaning the whole body. He even cuts off the dreads. Ooh. And then he indulges in this feast. Really like a whole glutton, particularly the mashed potatoes. He buries his face in there and then pours the gravy over his head. Lister then walks in on Rimmer this. He's really unimpressed. And Rimmer tries to convince him once again, I'm just indulging myself. And he even admits later on, apologizing, that he went over the top. Temporary madness, he claims. He's doing this while smoking a cigar. Rimmer in Lister's body now is walking in the corridor. The cat is unaware of the situation, and then he mocks him for dressing like Rimmer and then gets poked in the eye for it. We then see Rimmer supposedly working out, but he's really indulging himself in this giant hot tub. And while they're doing this, Lister is back in the bunk playing Scrabble with the cat, which the cat has to move all his pieces. He plays his. The cat then tries to play Jozxyqk as a word. It's a cat word. And he's like, what do you mean? What does he mean by this? And it's, well, it's a word for what happens when you get your junk caught in the zipper. It's something like that. He mispronunciates it. So, of course, Rimmer is faking all this whole waking out thing. Lister demands a weigh-in. Rimmer gets on there, and he's gained 2 stone. Now, if you're unaware with this British measurement, I had to look it up myself. So 2 stone is 28 pounds. So basically, 1 stone is 14 pounds. Takes the robe off, and he's wearing a girdle, a corset thing to pull in his stomach to look like he's been working out. Lister then begins demanding his body back. Rimmer convinces him to let him continue. Rimmer continues to basically abuse Lister's body, caught eating cake at night in the bed. And this is also when apparently Lister finally keys in that he's cut the locks off. They forces him to go, but he's like, all right, we're going to go do our body swap, putting things back. Lister is repulsed by what Rimmer has done to his body. Lister chews Rimmer out, saying he even has cleavage now once he switched back, and his weight is still up. Rimmer says that his body is a write-off if it was a car. Complains that he could never had a chance because of Lister's body being in such terrible shape. Complains of all these things he found wrong with it. Lister says never borrowing his body again. This is not the case. What Rimmer does, he employs Crichton to kidnap Lister using chloroform and dragging him, saying this is what he wanted. And since Crichton is having to be very obedient, he does so. Lister, of course, wakes up with a message from Rimmer that he's in Starbug and he will come back in 6 weeks to a month. Don't follow him. Lister gets the cat, tries to convince him to a body swap. He won't. They go after him anyway in the Blue Midget. Rimmer has kind of gone all full tilt mad. He's got a trunk full of donuts with cream. Cat and Lister, they've caught up to him on this moon, threatens to kill Lister's body. He keeps putting the gun in his mouth and stuff like that, like he's bluffing. Crichton is apparently with them now. They chase him onto the surface, and Rimmer crashes Starbug. They board the ship. Rimmer, as Lister, pretends like he lost an arm, playing a joke on him. The cat and Crichton laugh at it. Lister does not think it's funny. They go back to Red Dwarf finally. They put Lister back in his body. He's recovering and all this fun stuff. Crichton is in massive guilt mode, kind of trying to placate him. He's on veggies for 6 months because of the injury. And then Rimmer walks in very stiffly and find out that's the cat. And he's done the same thing to him with a body swap. Same gag. Absolutely hilarious. Fun episode. Very cheeky. But next episode, it's going to be great. Timeslides. I'm really looking forward to this episode. What a great one. So that's what we'll be checking in on next time. So until then, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know about the format. If there are things you want me to add, things you'd rather see me doing, I'm welcome them. You can write us at notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com right here below or in the description. It also contains all of our other socials that you can check out. You can come and listen to our main podcast if you'd like to. Our Not Funny Guys presents Off the Reels. We're currently in the middle of going through all the Star Wars movies, and only the mainline ones. We're not doing any of that Ewok or Christmas special. I don't know. Casey might punish us with a Christmas special. Who knows? But we're not doing any of that Ewok family stuff. Those like 2 films that I hate. Mainly because I think they were traumatizing me as a child. But you should check out the pod. We're currently moving on this week into Rogue One. We just covered Solo. We are going chronological order in the Star Wars universe. So we haven't even gotten to the main trilogy yet. So imagine when we get to the sequels, it'll be pretty bad. If that's not your flavor, you can always subscribe here. We'll be doing more and more television shows. That's kind of a brain purpose here. If you're into wrestling or horror, we have Wrestling with the Horror of It All over, which is another podcast of ours where Casey and Eric discuss wrestling and horror. And if you're more of a nerdy, intellectual bend at all, you can catch me and our Not Funny gal, Dr. Kristen, over on Thinking About Thinking, where we get into all kinds of stuff. I think our latest one we have up right now is about dangerous words. So you should go check that out if that is your thing. Like I said, we got a little bit of a flavor for everyone. But like I said, please like, subscribe, comment, share, punish people with this if you like. But in the meantime, don't be a smeghead. Keep it not funny, and I'll see you next time.